What is up, my Shadowverse soldiers, and welcome back to another Shadowverse Evolved video. So we are here again doing the reveals, even though people are still opening up their boxes and they have their stuff early. Well, for people who are still getting it on Friday, like myself, or probably even later through mail and whatnot, I'm still gonna do the reveal, so maybe you can have like a little review of the set and see what cards are coming out and see if maybe even the other stuff might pertain to what you're building. But today we're going to be doing the Runecraft reveals, and I'm very excited as a Runecraft player because I'm ready to see what they're putting in for Spellchain and Earthright, and I have not looked at these cards yet. So let's figure out what they're pulling out in set 3. Alright, so the first card we'll be looking at is Blitz, and for 1 you can select an enemy following the field and deal it X damage. X equals the number of magical pawn tokens on your field plus 2. So already you're going to be doing at least 3 damage if you have at least 1. But it seems like the set is going to be focusing on the chess pieces, the other pieces that being, you know, the knight, the rook, and then, you know, the other pieces, bishop and all that. And then, you know, the queen and the king, because in set 2, we did have a card that cost 1 and it said to summon a magical pawn token, and it really didn't do much besides be a 2/1 attacker, which is nice, but I feel like now that we have the other pieces, the magical pawn will actually matter. Alright, moving onward, we have Check, and for 3 you can select an enemy following the field and deal it 4 damage. And then you look at the top 3 cards of your deck, and you may reveal a chess card with a different name card than this card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. Pretty interesting. You can go ahead and search for your chess pieces that you don't have already. So as for 3, and then it does 4 damage to something, so that's not bad. Alright, we have Flawless Leonardian Mage, and for 4, she comes into play, Earthright. You can give this follower Storm, or Fanfare, Spellchain 7, you deal 4 damage to each enemy following the field. So this is something good for both Spellchain and Earthright. For Runecraft, those are really the 2 main deck classes, even though we just got the 3rd one with Chess, but that doesn't really pertain to like the Spellchain or the Earthright for both those decks. But we now have a card that can go in both the Spellchain and the Earthright decks, and they have their, you know, nice feats. I might be running this because honestly the board wipes that we have in Spellchain aren't really that good because we have Alchemical Lore that does, you know, 4 to everything for 5. Well, you know, Flawless Leonardian Mage does it for 4, and then I get a body, and I just have to make sure I have 7 cards in the, you know, cemetery. Alright, next up we have Gingerbread House, and for 1 it has stack, and then when it comes into play you give your leader plus 3 defense. This is going to be so good for Earthright because the one thing that Runecraft was lacking was any sort of heal. Like if you took any sort of damage at any point in the game, yeah, that was just going to stick the whole game. Now if you're playing Earthright, you have something that'll definitely heal you. Now the hand is, do you want to draw a card with the Teaching Creations, or do you want to have that plus defense with Gingerbread House? Alright, moving forward, we have Magical Bishop, and for 2, at the start of your end phase, if there's another chess follower on your field, deal 1 damage to each enemy leader, and give your leader plus 1 defense. And then when it comes into play, you put a magical pawn token into your EX area. So this is what the Magical Bishop does. Let's see what the other pieces do. Next up, we have the Magical Knight, and for 3, you can evolve them for 1. But whenever another chess follower is put onto your field, give it plus 1 attack. That's very interesting. Let's figure out what this Evo does. We have the Magical Knight Evo. So on Evolve, you summon a magical pawn token. Whenever another chess follower is put onto your field, give it plus 1 attack. So on Evolve, it seems like when you do this effect, you're definitely going to get that magical pawn token, so he'll be a 5/4. So he's going to already set up with that 1 attack when he comes in when you evolve him. Next up, we have Magical Rook, and for 1, when it comes into play, if there's a magical pawn token in your EX area, give this follower plus 1 and ward. Pretty interesting. That seems something like a Rook would do since it's a pretty good chess piece. Moving forward, we have the Lady Mystic Queen, and for 4 you can evolve her for 1. And then when she comes into play, you summon a magical pawn token and put a magical pawn token into your EX area. So you need both of those things to really generate the value off of all your chess pieces. With the Rook, you need the magical pawn token into your EX area, and he gets a plus 1 ward. And then when you have another pawn out, well, with this card, you can probably get that generated plus 1 attack with the Knight if you play this card after you play your Knight. You're really just going to get so much value off of just playing the Milady Mystic Queen in the chess deck. Looking at the Milady Mystic Queen Evo, so on Evolve, you select an enemy follower on the field and deal it X damage. X equals the number of chess followers on your field. So that's just a maximum of 5, anything lower than that, you know, that just really depends on how many chess followers you're playing. But it's going to be a maximum of 5 damage, and you know what we say about 5 damage on this channel, is that, you know, a follower that has at least 5 defense is not, you know, game ending, but it is game changing, so you definitely want to get rid of those cards. Alright, next up we have Mr. Hylian Shadow Mage. And for 5, when he comes into play, you put the top 4 cards of your deck into your cemetery and recover X play points. X equals the number of spells put into your cemetery with this effect. Activate, engage this card, discard a spell, and then select an enemy following the field and deal it 4 damage. When I look at this card, it screams spell chain. So this is definitely gonna be nice for spell chain to have a quicker way to get into those big boss monsters really quickly. You know, we already have the 2-drop spell, quick spell card that, you know, puts 1 spell into your hand and then 1 into the cemetery. That's nice, but Mr. Hylian's probably gonna be nice when you can spend that 5 and get more of those spells into your cemetery just from the top of your deck instead of using them. Alright, next up we have Mystic King, and for 6 you can evolve him for 2, but you can activate to put another chest follower on your field into your cemetery. You select an enemy follower on the field and deal it 5 damage, and this ability can only be activated once per turn. So it's pretty nice that he's a 6-drop, and then he's a 5/5, and at any point in time you can just swing with the chest follower. If it survives, we have Mystic King on the field to just get rid of him, and then deal 5 to something on the field, maybe, you know, a ward or just a problematic follower. Let's figure out what his Evo does. Alright, and we're looking at the Mystic King Evo. So on Evolve, you select up to 4 differently named chest followers that cost 4 or less in your cemetery, and put them onto the field. And then he still has that same ability of activate, put another chest follower on the field and into your cemetery. Then you can select an enemy follower on the field and deal it 5 damage. This ability can only be activated once per turn. So now arises the question that yes, you get to play all those cards from evolving, but with the activated ability, are you able to use the 6-drop, you know, get rid of something and then evo and then do it again? I'm pretty sure you can't because it says this ability can only be activated once per turn, but you know, I'm just going off of Dragon Ball rules where it's like, hey, this is a new card, you can do this effect again, so I'm not sure. Next up we have Witch of Sweets, and you can evolve her for 0. Let's figure out what her evolve does. So the Witch of Sweets Evo, so on evolve you draw a card. I feel like this is pretty good for a 2-drop. I don't know really where it's gonna be practical, but I like the card art and I like its ability. Alright, next up we have Witch's Cauldron, and for 1 it has stack, but when it comes into play you look at the top 4 cards of your deck. You may reveal a card with Earthright from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. That's pretty good because one thing that Earthright was missing was a way to search out those Earthright followers and whatnot, or just even Earthright cards. So now we have a way to get Sun Oracle Pascal, look at it, and then our 3-drop World Girl, I can't think of her name off the top of my head, I'm so sorry. And then we finally have a way to search out our Ancient Alchemist, because that's the one thing, you know, I've missed games where I'm like, hey, I really needed Ancient Alchemist this game to really burn you for the rest of your life. Well, now I have a 1-drop card that can search for her. Alright, and lastly, we have Wizardess of Oz. If any of you know, I'm so excited for this card because if you watch my streams, this is my exact card. And I want you to know this season of set 3, I'm going to be rocking Earthright with Wizardess of Oz. Spoiler alert. So if you see me playing anything, if I'm not playing any sort of deck, I'm playing this card. Well, for 6, when she comes into play, you summon a magic sediment token, then you add 1 stack counter to it. Just like the Crafty Warlock, you draw a card, and then you can quick to /activate, you can Earthright. This next spell you play this turn costs 4 less to play. This ability can only be activated once per turn. So now we have a way to play our Golem Protection, and then our Fiery Embrace, you know, those 4-cost spells can just become free, and I guess anything less than that, you can't even play with. But, you know, those 2 cards, the Fiery Embrace and Golem Protection, can go hand in hand in each deck, and you can really use this card in those decks. Alright guys, well that is the end of the video. Thank you for watching so much. You don't understand how it means to me that you watch my content. Thank you guys so much. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for you guys. I want you guys to know that I love you so much, and I enjoy Shadowverse just as much as all of you. Alright guys, make sure you're safe in whatever you do tonight, and safe whatever you do for the rest of the year. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.
I gave you all my love, baby, my heart is cold when you're around. You warm it up, liquid gold, baby, yeah, you warm it up, liquid gold, baby, and my affection, all that paper you wasted. Take my love.